Roll.
What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. And I got some energy because Man United got another 3 point. I'm laughing because look at Lee's face. He's a Southampton fan, and guess where we got the 3 points from? Yeah, we went down to their home, and went down to the beach. Are you guys by the water?
We're by the water,
All
but
right.
there's no beach. It's a commercial shipping port.
All right. We went by the water. We went down to the commercial shipping port and picked up some containers of points and brought them back to Man United and moved up the table. And we'll talk about that game. And we'll talk about Chelsea going a man down and still winning. And we'll talk about Haaland, hat trick, monster, savage, beast of a man, doing exactly what we thought he could do, but he's ready. He's here, and it's going to be scary. And transfers, whatever transfers just came up in the last few days, and transfer window will close on what, Thursday?
Yeah,
So we're
11
gonna do
p.m. I think UK time.
7 p.m. UK time. So Thursday, we're going to do another podcast. We're going to talk about the games that get played midweek, and we're going to talk about the closing of the transfer window. But let's just get to it now. Already introduced Lee, Southampton, sour face, Hudson, a little salty. His team lost to Manchester United. What up, Lee? I can't believe you're not excited.
No, I mean, we played quite well, I thought. But, just doesn't mean anything if you don't get the win. So, yeah.
Yeah. I know that feeling, man. Trust. And Neil Chakrabarti, stand-up comedian, also living out of San Diego. He's happy this week compared to last week. Chelsea fan. What up, fam?
I'm good. I'm like more relieved than happy. Yeah.
More relief than happy. I feel the same way. I'm relief, but my relief comes out as happiness now because I take what we can get. But what do you guys think we should get into first? Which game? We talk about ours?
I mean, should we talk about ours, seeing as we're both here?
Yeah, since we're both here. And then I don't know if Martin's gonna join, but Spurs.
We can leave them down the list anyway.
Yeah, we'll leave them down the list. So what's up? What's up, Lee? How you think? What do you think about that game between Southampton and Manchester United?
I mean, it's first game of the weekend as well. Early kickoff on a Saturday.
And you were there, right?
I was at the game. It was a good atmosphere. United's travelling support were always vocal. Our home fans gave as good as they got as well. So it was a really good atmosphere for the game. The weather was nice. It was kind of a scrappy game of football. It was almost like a basketball game. It was like end to end kind of thing quite quickly. It was a very quick game of football, quite chaotic. But I thought, if you just look at like the game, I think we deserved at least a draw, but we weren't clinical. Every time we got into the final third, we forced a couple of good saves out of De Gea, or we had one, like Bella Kotchap had one from a corner where all he had to do was just put it in the net and he poked it over the bar from 5 yards out. But then United had chances too. There was that crazy goalmouth scramble in the first half where everyone was throwing their bodies in front of the ball.
3 shots, 3 blocks.
Yeah. I think that game could have ended 2-2 quite easily. On the balance of play, Shea Adams had a couple of good chances that he didn't strike cleanly as well.
But so do you want to sell him? You want to sell him again this week?
only if we can replace him. That's the only reason I'd sell him, is if we can get someone better. But he worked his ass off as usual. He did a great job. But the chance that came, I think it was Elanga who went infield. He drew all the defenders to him, which then created the space for Dalot out wide to just receive the ball. And he picked Fernandes out, and that finish was world class. To be able to control the ball into the corner from there as it's coming like that is difficult. Like, to put it in that one place where the keeper's not going to be able to get it, and do it so composed. That's the mark of a truly quality player. And I think he looks reinvigorated this season. Like the Liverpool game, he looked brilliant. for you guys. I thought, he was working harder than he's ever seemed to work in a United shirt, and then he was great for you on Saturday as well. And he was a match winner, so you can't fault that. The one thing I thought was a little bit sad was when Ronaldo came on, because the guy, you clearly can see that he's done at this level now. Like there was a few moments where like he just miscontrolled the ball. There was a couple of moments where he was in a foot race with like big centre backs who aren't that quick, and they just burned past him. You can see that he's not really got that much about him anymore, which was a little bit sad to see, because time catches up with everyone. You can keep yourself in great shape, but the clock's the clock ticks down for everyone. So,
but I mean, this should be perfect for him then. Like he can just play these super sub minutes and still show.
He didn't even add anything as a sub though. He was there, he was present. You could see he was trying to make the right movements, but all the explosivity of his game is pretty much gone. He's still not bad in the air, but I think for him, if he can go somewhere like Serie A or Portugal or somewhere where the game's a little bit slower, maybe it might suit him. I think maybe he could still be good if you have games where the opposition are just playing a low block and you need someone who's going to be in the box and who might pull out a finish, because he can still do that. But in a game where it's back and front and it's counter attacks and things like that, he hasn't got the legs to do that anymore. Or if you want to press a team, he hasn't got the legs to do that anymore. Like I could see it firsthand that he just didn't have the capability to do that anymore. So I still think there's games where they could do that, but if teams want to come at United because they're playing out from the back under Ten Hag, the game's going to become quite transitional, which means he'll be lost in that. But like I say, if you're playing say you're playing Bournemouth and they're camped in their own half trying to defend, and you can just put him in the box and he'll finish chances, he might still be useful there. But I think you need more than that if you're going to play for a team at the top level now.
All right. Bournemouth is another game we're going to talk about later on, where you can see how angry Liverpool was based on their score against Bournemouth. They really took their no wins and a loss against Man United out on Bournemouth this week, and we'll get into that sport. So how I feel about the game is, I love 3 points, but I don't like hanging on like the last character in a horror movie to see if we're going to make it out of the basement and out the door, and just the relief of it. You know what I mean? I don't want us to get 3 points because the referee broke up the fight before the other team got a punch in. I want the referee to break up the fight because there's no way the other guy had a chance to win, and the beating was just getting merciless. So, but what I do like is it's sad. And the sad part that I like is the team camaraderie and the high-fiving on the defensive plays and the talking to each other and the support that everybody's showing each other defensively. And the reason why I don't like it or liking it, because it's one of the basic fundamental elements of football, and we're just getting that. But I do like that we're finally getting that. And I guess in order for us to go to the places that I do like and be more offensive, is for that camaraderie and team spirit to be there first. So
you got to set the foundations.
You got to set the foundation. You can't build the roof of a house first. And I also like the vibe change. Like United is starting to kind of pass the vibe check. Like you were talking about, I heard our fans through my TV there, and I was like, and I knew they were telling me they're bringing the spirit of what happened last week at Old Trafford down to you guys. That means we got a tough game on Sunday against Arsenal at home, and I know those fans are going to be live. We're going to need that. Every tackle, every 50-50, every pass. I know those fans like it because it kind of like encourages the team and puts that energy back in them that we need or we didn't have before. So hopefully we'll win against Leicester midweek on Thursday, and then hopefully the fans, because the games are so close together, hopefully the fans will will Tesla charge us for that next game so that we can face Arsenal. But I do love the 3 points, but I hate the horror movie aspect of it. You know what I mean?
It's better to get a win and scrape it than not win at all, though.
I know.
And
I know.
also,
I know.
like, United right now are in a position where we know that it's not going to be smooth. It's not going to be smooth, at least not every game. Like the fact that it was so smooth for a long time versus Liverpool was a surprise. So I think you're going to have these growing pains with Ten Hag, with pretty much a fairly new team. Like you're going to have now Casemiro coming in to this team. You're going to have maybe another few signings over the end of the window. And, you should probably expect a lot more of these games, but if the points keep coming in, that's always better than dropping points.
Yeah.
I mean, and we were confident after beating Leicester as well, and it was a home game. And quite often at home, we don't make it easy to beat us. We will give teams good games. Just one thing I thought was interesting though when I was watching the game was every time we kicked long, always it was on Lisandro Martinez. Every time our goalkeeper decided to go long or defenders tried to play long, it was always on his side. And Che Adams was beating him for most of it. And the problem is you have Malacia on that side as well, who isn't tall either. So if teams have a taller winger who can come in off that side, so aerial balls there, I think it'd be interesting because a couple of times we won knockdowns from there and we're able to have attacks around the box from that. And I think teams are going to be doing that every single game now that he plays. They're going to be looking to put the ball in that area. I mean, Liverpool couldn't really do it because they didn't have anyone to go up and challenge because they've got smaller wingers and forwards. Although if Darwin played, it might have been a bit different. But it was it was interesting to see that every single ball they just put it on that side. I don't know if you can quickly get the centre backs to switch as the kick is taken or something. Or what, but it was interesting to see that was the tactic. Like teams have just identified that now as a thing.
I mean, let me just compliment your team for being so young and having their shit together so fast. You got how many new players played yesterday or Sunday or Saturday?
So there was Bazunu in goal, was new. Bella Kotchap at centre back was new. The rest of the defence weren't new. Romeo Lavia in centre midfield was new. Joe Arabo was new. Everyone else had been there though. So 4 new starters, and then we had a couple come off the bench as well.
It's pretty impressive, and they're young starters too, not experienced Premier League people.
Yeah, they're all early 20s, and Lavia's a teenager.
Yeah. So so I give you credit for the fight and the effort. Like I said, it felt like a horror movie.
I was impressed by some of your guys though.
Malacia
was decent. I think he gives you good energy on the left. He gets up and down really well. He defends 1v1 quite strong as well. A couple of times he was a bit left exposed by Rashford in front of him, not helping him out. But he dealt with stuff fairly well. I was impressed by him. Not a new signing, but I thought McTominay had a really good game in terms of doing the dirty work. His work rate was phenomenal. I thought he might have been quite severely injured at one point as well. It looked like he'd twisted his knee.
Oh yeah.
And I was thinking, that's an ACL or something. But then he got up and he was okay. But Casemiro was solid when he came on as well. He did the stuff you'd expect him to do at that stage of the game. Waste a little bit of time, win the ball, be simple with it, kind of thing. So yeah, I'm sure he'll be useful for you going forward. But
yeah, the only other thing I want to say is the big discussion on Match of the Day about Lisandro Martinez's height, or just on Talk Sport on any show. So we know that soon as he gets beaten in the ear, and Man United lets in a goal, that's all they're going to talk about. But it's so funny with lazy statisticians or once there's one thing that once somebody makes what they think is a point, all the pundits grab onto that point. So here's my counterpoint point to the stereotypical Lisandro Martinez point. My point, they like Graham Souness was saying, in the history, he's thinking and racking his brain, and he can't think of another player in the history of the EPL or First Division English football who's that short, who played that position, and he's gonna get beat. But let me tell you something. So nobody that short has ever played that position, but everybody who's been taller has played that position, and they've all been beat. It doesn't matter how tall you are, you're gonna get beat. So right now, like Lisandro Martinez, on an average, has been beat less than everybody who's taller than him that's played that position. Like everybody's been beat, and it doesn't matter if he was 2 inches taller, you wouldn't talk about his height. But like, there's been 6 foot people, over 6 foot people, and they've all been beat. But nobody's pointing on the fact that they have you get beat because maybe you're not athletic enough, you don't read the game well enough, you're not good at judging the ball or whatever. Is whatever the matter is. Everybody
Also, so far
every height has been beat.
Also, so far he has the highest aerial duels win percentages among the United defenders anyway. So
right. Well, he was statistically winning duels in aerial duels against us. But the ones that don't count are the ones where the ball was played up high, and Che Adams, because Che Adams is quite a built guy. He's only 5'9" as well, but he's built. Mm-hmm. And what he would do, he would just back into him, and then he would bring the ball down on his chest. And that doesn't count as an aerial duel because it's not the two of them going up for a header. But that was the tactic, was to put the ball up there and have him just back into it, and Martinez couldn't come over and head it.
And then what does Che Adams do with it?
Then it was laid off, and we would get chances around the box. A couple of chances came from that. From the ball being up there, but on the ground as well, that he was a monster. Lisandro, he was. Mm-hmm. You can see why he's got the Butcher nickname.
Right.
Yeah, he didn't fuck around in the tackles at all.
I'll take it for now, but it's just that everybody who's saying what they're saying, just remember, everybody who was taller has been beat multiple times. A lot of tall guys didn't make it in the league because they weren't good in the air. Doesn't matter, so.
Even Van Dijk will be getting beaten by people.
yeah.
I think teams are gonna target that area though.
Yeah, they will.
It's just gonna be a matter of like, if he can individually keep that, keep his end of the bargain up, like not make those mistakes in the air, but also. Oh boy, is this what I think it is?
Yeah, it's exactly who you think it's.
Are you facing an alien attack?
Hilarious.
The thing with Martinez is though, he's done well in games against like Che Adams, 5'9", and Firmino, who I think is about the same sort of size. The game he played against a bigger guy was Ivan Toney for Brentford, and it was. Yeah, a bit different that day. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when he comes up against Haaland, or when he comes up against Isak, who's just signed for Newcastle, when he comes up against these guys. Because I think playing against Jesus against Arsenal will suit him. Playing against Vardy for Leicester will suit him. So these are the games that are going to be interesting.
I saw Haaland run in between 2 trees, and they couldn't take him down for his 3rd goal. So it's like, nobody can handle Haaland. So if Haaland handles Martinez, they shouldn't be like this expose on TV the next day.
No, not at all.
About how Haaland handled Martinez because the pundits want to be proven right when they're going to ignore the 6 goals. How many goals does Haaland have already?
He's on 6.
I think he's got 6 already. So they're going to ignore that and focus on that day, that goal, that game, just because we want to sound like we're right. It doesn't matter. Everybody being beat.
I think what I'm interested to see though is, if it ever happens that they come up against a team whose strength isn't in the air, but they feel that, this is a deficiency that United has. So they somehow like change the way they play just for, horses for courses for a particular game. That'd be interesting to see, because I'm pretty sure like, if because if they do that, that could actually backfire too. So
Yeah, I just say like United was tall the last year, and we finished sixth. We were tall.
Yeah.
Pogba, McTominay, Matic, like
Maguire. I mean,
Maguire.
the funny thing
Lindelof,
is, you probably
tall
have
as
the
shit.
most, like in Maguire, you probably have the most one-dimensional player who, if
Yeah.
anything, the only thing he's good at is balls in the air. So, so he almost kind of went the other way in terms of recruitment.
Yeah, but Maguire was responsible. I forgot how many, like 12 goals against us last year. As long as Martinez cuts that number down, I'll take it. You know,
Yeah.
like just being bad with the ball and back passing it and like giving it short and not being confident, that cost us, man, a lot of goals. So I forgot where I read the stat, but it was definitely in double figures, and I wasn't even surprised. So
I think we need to talk about your next signing from Ajax as well. That sounds like it's done.
Oh my God.
Too much Martinez. Hey guys, listen, I hope Anthony, is it Anthony?
Yeah.
You
need to know his name. Like it's
85
incredible
million.
amount of
85 million
I think
pounds.
in just pure absolute monetary value, this could be the most a club has overpaid over somebody's value for a single player. I just think
eight goals and 4 assists in the Eredivisie last year.
Yeah, he's probably, like, if his value is truly, you know, like in the open market, he's probably worth 20-30 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's when you just take that extra money and pay for Bellingham or pay for the guy at West Ham, Declan Rice, or he should just went all out for Darwin Núñez. You know what I mean? Like, even though we don't know exactly how Darwin Núñez is going to do, he's got better stats, gives you a better hope, and he's scored so far. So you're like, all right, so he's got potential. But yeah, it's like, so, you know, listen, man, United is definitely not like recruitment perfect. So
no, I mean, this seems like a Ten Hag thing, right? Like, he probably, even though I don't think anybody else sees the value, but if he's saying that, you know, this guy, I've worked with him for 3 years, you know, he is going to be valuable to the way I play, then that's where the value comes from. If what I just find so bizarre is, why didn't the negotiation just stop at 50 or 60 million? Like, what were they talking with Ajax? What was Ajax saying in return? That even that, because even that's significant markup in my opinion, as to what you ship from here to here. So, you know, just call the deal at 60 million. Like, why did that keep going on?
Because Ajax kept on moving the goalposts.
Why?
Like, it's like you ever try, like, when we used to grow up in New York, right? They used to be like, you walking down the street, somebody's like, hey man, you want to buy this chain for $1,000? And they like, that's too much. And they're like, all right, $100. And it just drops drastically. But in this negotiation, it went the opposite way. We'll pay you 50. Nah, 60. All right, we'll pay you 60. Shit, that was easy. All right, make it 70. All right, here's the 70. Nah, we want 80. And it just kept on. They didn't want to let him go. They've sold 5 of their players from their team last year already. And they were like trying to like, they're probably less happy that they had to sell him for 90 mil, way above market value, than they are if they'd have just kept him and not got 90 mil. So it's like the power was in their hands.
The weird thing I find though is that I don't think it's really a player that you need either. But I think you're you know, it's always good if you can add another like decent winger, but I don't think it was the position you needed. I think you needed the number 9. And then you look at Newcastle have gone and spent, I think, 57 million on Isak, who I really rate. He's still 22 as well.
But his stats ain't that great either. I was jealous. So when I get jealous, I go look up stats. He got like 6 goals, 5 assists last season, and I thought he was tearing it up.
I think he got more than that.
You should check.
I think
I might be
last
wrong.
season was not one of Isak's
Hmm.
best. I think it was the season before that.
But also, he's playing for Sociedad as well, who aren't a team who are sort of free flowing, creating a bunch of chances.
Yeah, not this weekend, but last weekend he scored against Barca. But if you look at, last week he played against, not this weekend, last weekend he scored against Barca. But if you look at last season, he don't got that much. What up, Martin?
Hey.
Mr. Def Leppard.
Yeah, that was fun. The concert was fun. Going back to 80s, and it feels that way also with Premier League, I guess. Because the last time I was so passionate about Nottingham Forest, that was in the 80s, and it was a difficult weekend for me. But I'm still, of course, rooting for the Spurs.
Yeah, I'd like you better if you rooted for Nottingham Forest and went back to your 80s roots. But, again, Martin chooses the wrong team. All right.
In this case, the right team. It was the right choice.
Well, we're going to talk about Neil's game, Chelsea versus, why can't I remember who you played?
Leicester.
And
you're forgetting we just had the Wesley Fofana derby.
Basically. Yeah. Well, so you got him, right? He's yours?
I mean, it's the most bizarre thing I've seen. Basically,
he's
what
in
happened...
America. He's next door to my house getting a physical. I went over there to see how he was doing on the test.
Yeah, apparently these new owners, they don't trust the labs and the doctors in America, in London. So they're having, apparently there's some high performance center somewhere in New York where they're gonna have these. He wants to build something like that in London too, but in the meanwhile, they're gonna have this. They've sent him to New York for a medical, which is just wild.
He had I think it was pre-season last season. He had a pretty brutal injury. Someone nailed him in pre-season and fucked him up for a while.
Yeah, he missed a big part of the season last season. So yeah, maybe they want to get him completely checked out.
Yeah, they're paying that much for him. They're like, we got to make sure every centimeter of this person is working.
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't been officially announced by either club yet. But what I found hilarious was Gary Lineker, tweeted about linking to one of the reports saying that, Chelsea's getting one of the most incredible young centre backs of the world. Sad to see him go because, Lineker with his Leicester ties.
Leicester.
And Wesley Fofana retweets that, with the thank you emoji or this, the sad emoji, kind of like acknowledging the fact that he's leaving Leicester. And I'm like, dude, he announced it before anybody else could announce it. I've never seen something like that. So, and he's been kind of like he started putting up these videos of himself driving a car, listening to some French rap. He's just so happy, that this is finally reached a conclusion. So yeah, but the game.
Just let me ask you a question. What do you personally think about him? Is he better than Chalobah or?
Chalobah is loaned out, right? Chalobah got loaned out.
No, Chalobah is staying. Colwell got loaned out.
Oh.
Chalobah is staying. See, here's the thing. I mean, obviously, Chalobah, since he's played a full season, I've seen a little bit more of Chalobah, but it's possible that Fofana has a higher ceiling. Like Faufana was one of these guys 2 or 3 years back who's always in, one of those top young defenders lists, and he's really highly rated by people who've seen him for far longer than I have.
Right.
So, but the injury obviously plays into, it wasn't a normal injury. So I don't know how much that takes away from him, physically for the long term. But I think when you think about, we had to replace Rudiger and Christensen, experienced quality centre back and a young up and coming centre back. I think Koulibaly and Fofana are pretty much the best you could do in those circumstances. I think we do end up spending 15 to 20 million extra on Faufana. I don't think he's worth the what they're saying, the high 60s or the early 70s that he's going to come in for. But I think there's just the desperation that the market knows we're in right now, and the fact that Leicester is Leicester. Ever since you guys, you give them those bad habits with Harry Maguire, I think they gotta keep doing that to clubs. So yeah, I hope he comes in. It's good that the decision was also taken to keep Chalobah. I think we need that depth in a World Cup year. So yeah, the game itself was it became completely a game of two different parts. Before the red card and after. Before the red card, I think we were dominating the game, and we had a few chances. Ruben missed a close range. It was a great save for the keeper, and then we got a penalty that was marginally ruled offside. But after that,
yeah, marginally offside.
It was
offside.
marginal. Like I couldn't see it. I couldn't really tell. But after the red card, we had a backstory. It was a pretty silly tackle by Conor Gallagher.
He kind of got sold out by Cucurella on the second.
Cucurella, yeah, like the set piece was poor, and then the clearance from the set piece was poor too. It's like, so I kind of understand what his instincts were as a central midfielder to put that tackle in, but also maybe he could have looked from the corner of the eyes. There were two other defenders, charging back too. So, and it's still only
early 30 minutes. That guy was off to the races though.
Yeah. He was probably clear the ball.
It reminds me of the one scene from the Amazon documentary about Arsenal when Xhaka got a red card for stopping a counterattack. I think they finished 0-0 at Liverpool, and I think Saka or someone else was trying to give him a hard time in the locker room, and he's like, "No, guys, for the first time, thank you, Zaka. Say thank you, Zaka. Without me, 0-1. The game ended 0-0. Thank you, Zaka. Thank you, Zaka."
Yeah. And then I think Leicester just kept ramping up the pressure. They knew they had that one-man advantage, and the goals actually came kind of against the run of play, because we changed the system at halftime. We went to a 3 at the back. I really like what
came on, didn't he? I think
Absolutely came on from Mount, who was pretty much doing nothing all game. He's had a poor start to the season, Mason Mount.
Damn.
He
wants to be in Barcelona. That's why.
Can trust Martin to troll.
The thing is, Mount will score against us this week. That's guaranteed.
Oh yeah,
because he always wants to score against us. That's a guaranteed thing.
You two against each other this week.
Tomorrow night. Yeah.
Tomorrow, you're just facing off on the podcast all over. Lee, in everybody's face.
Yeah, he's a Portsmouth guy, Mason Mount, so he always enjoys scoring against us and then cupping his ear to the fans. So I'm expecting that tomorrow. If he doesn't score against us, he's in my fantasy team at the moment. If he doesn't score against us, I'm taking him out. This is his last chance for me. And then he's gone. I'm getting Rodrigo in otherwise.
Yeah, so we changed the system at halftime, and the 4 at the back was working really well till the red card, but then kind of gave us a numerical disadvantage after. So at halftime, we changed it to 3 at the back. Aspilicueta came on, and it started flowing a little bit more. And that was I think Sterling created that first goal out of nothing. Like it was a brilliant strike, and just after
that, good pass from Cucurella to make up for selling out. Gallagher.
Yeah, and the second, I mean, he could have had another goal. Again, another brilliant stop by the keeper, then hit the post, and then he gets the third. It was a great move from back to front. I think 7 or 8 players were involved. Havertz, Reece. Reece James has been whipping those crosses in for a couple of years now. He just never had somebody to get finish. On the header. Right. And Sterling, hopefully this is the first of many. It was a great. It's almost like a Raheem Sterling Manchester City goal. He's used to doing that there. So, yeah, and Harvey Barnes scored pretty much right after. I thought he got a good cushion. That was a great goal. Mendy was poor.
What's going on with Mendy, bro? Like that, like a near post goal?
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
Yeah, he's been making these mistakes, but I mean, at the same time, in the same game, he made some really good saves too. Like he's making the difficult ones, he's missing out on the easy ones. Like, yeah, he needs to.
He's keppering it up over there a little
Yeah.
bit.
Well,
Yeah.
Kepa when he was Kepa was doing neither, so that's a different story. But
I thought
yeah,
Kepa was just bad in the ear.
he was bad. Oh my god, let me not go there.
All right.
How much time do we got?
You don't have a lot of time. You gotta go at 5:30.
Yeah. But credit to Leicester, they gave us a really tough game. Like we could have easily drawn or lost because they hit the post. They knew we were a man down, and then they just kept piling on wave after wave of attack. And Vardy had a very good chance that he missed. They had like a couple of chances.
Vardy missed two typical Vardy goals. Like that's a Vardy goal, and that's a Vardy, he was just off target on those.
Right, and then they hit the post again, and those last 10 minutes were not fun. Like last 10, 15 minutes. So, but yeah, luckily we escaped. Tuchel was up there. The camera kept panning to him. He's in the stands. So let's see now. Next game, Gallagher is gone. Conte is injured. Kovacic is not fit to start. So it's going to be interesting what we do in midfield.
You think they'll move Loftus-Cheek back inside?
I think so. I think that's the only thing we can do unless we want to give Chukwuemeka a go, which I don't think is realistic at this point.
Chalobah can play as a holding mid as well, can't he? I think
he can, but he's never like Tuchel's never tried it, even at occasions when we felt like we needed a holding mid due to whatever squad issues. But so I don't think he's gonna try Chalobah there.
Loftus-Cheek would make more sense, or move Mount deeper, which I know he can do as well.
Yeah, I think Loftus-Cheek is the
another attacking midfielder.
I think Loftus-Cheek is the natural choice, and he's had a good start to the season. It's just that at Chelsea right now, if you miss good chances in front of goal, you're getting cooked. You're getting slandered no matter what.
Why? That's normal. That's what y'all do.
Yeah, but that's like people get so easily triggered by that. Like in a normal team, like people miss chances, then they score too. So it's taken as you take it with the rough with the tumble. But right now, any Chelsea fan, when we kind of like forget the entire game if you see somebody miss a chance in front of goal.
That's funny. So you have what is it like Werner PTSD?
Werner
Habits.
It's the German PTSD.
Yeah. So what's your obsession with Gordon right now?
Yeah, it's so bizarre. Wrong? Like I don't understand like why he's so. I mean, I get it. He presses really hard, which probably suits Tuchel's game. But I mean, I don't understand it to be honest.
He scored this weekend to add fuel to that too. It's a good goal.
Yeah, it's a good
against
goal.
A team that was outplaying him.
It's probably his first good goal because I saw his. I went back to see his other 5 goals he scored in the Premier League. I think 3 of them were deflections and 1 was an accidental touch. So it's high time he scored a goal.
Do you think if he signs? Do you think if he signs, Pulisic goes?
I don't think Pulisic goes because Hudson has already gone. It hasn't been announced.
Yeah, he's joining Leverkusen on loan, isn't he?
Leverkusen on loan. I think Ziyech is again
on his way back to Ajax.
That's actually a consequence of the Antony move that Ziyech is going to go to Ajax. So we have to keep Pulisic. We can't let everybody go, even if we do get Gordon.
You should let everybody go. Let him go.
So
he ain't getting any minutes.
Yeah, but I
in a World Cup, yeah.
But I don't think Gordon's gonna come anywhere because the price they want, 60 million, is kind of weird. So
yeah, it's high. Like I've seen him play, and I believe in him. Like his desire and drive and energy, he's fearless. Like all the things I would want in a teammate or to be on a team that I root for. But 60, it's talk about overpaying. But I sent something in the group chat about how the Premier League has spent so much. They're spending all their money.
Yeah.
They have a different like expenditure than like other leagues around Europe, which makes me worry for just the Premier League period, because that's how you lose your dominance and your power. Like, remember, Italy used to be like that with all the spending power, and then and then that's why leagues get weaker now. Italy's like trying to like chill on the spending. They're just taking a lot of players on loan or free transfers. So
that's why you've got Barca trying to keep up and putting themselves into mountains of debt to try and keep up with the rest of the transfer market.
Yeah. I don't want the entire league to end up like Premier League to end up like Barca.
No, but luckily in the Premier League, you see everybody doing it. You see Nottingham Forest paying,
but it doesn't mean it's good.
No, but I'm saying like it's not lopsided. Like there are teams even at the lower levels who have
that's why I'm worried. Because it's not lopsided. I'm worried
as much.
But because it's not lopsided, that's why I'm worried about at one point the whole league like collapsing because everybody overextended. Financially.
Yeah, because it's. I think by the end of this window, we are gonna smoke past the all-time highest transfer window, which I think the record right now is 2019 window by Real Madrid. They were at around 292
I think this
million pounds.
It's already the most expensive Premier League window ever.
Yes, but but that you kind of expect. I always feel like every window
year
will
on
be
year
higher than the previous.
Right.
But I feel like this summer is gonna be Chelsea's gonna go past Real Madrid's 2019 spending.
Yeah.
And I feel United won't be that far behind either.
Well, Nottingham Forest, it's like, how do you buy 18 new players? This is crazy. You're never even gonna play all of them.
And also, if you need 18 new players,
did Nottingham Forest go straight into the Champions League? That they need players to play. What the? Are they out of there? They listen. Good. I guess they plan on sticking around in the way they play. They'll end up sticking around. But since we're on the topic of them, Martin's dying to chime in. Spurs played Nottingham Forest.
I'm happy. I'm not far from dying.
Martin, I'm so sorry. I'll have to miss out on listening to what I'm sure would be a great.
Why do you have to miss out?
Because I gotta go.
Oh, so before you go, I want you to check the fantasy league table. Would you?
I know. I need to start doing something about it. I haven't made any changes.
We have a lot in common in the Premier League fantasy table. I'm first and you're first, but the problem is I'm first from the top and you're first from the bottom.
But you're not first from the top in the Premier League table.
In the fantasy. That's all my life, my friend. In the fantasy, I'm number one.
It kills me that mine's top this week.
He is?
Yeah, mine had a good week. He's up to number one. We can cover that quickly now if you want.
Quickly. And then we still got to go to his team, his real team, Spurs. Oh, this is going to be a rough. Can I go to with Neil? Me and Neil got something to do. You guys deal with this.
Oh dear. Let me just. I'll just sign into.
Just tell me, am I like absolute bottom or only bottom?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you are rock bottom. We're actually spread like throughout the league quite nicely because Martin's first at the moment. I'm 12th. Ian's 23rd, and Neil's 33rd.
Oh, okay.
So we're like, there's almost like there's almost like 11, 12 places in between all of us.
You're already 130 points behind me. It's almost like impossible.
Did Martin cheat this week?
I gotta.
Huh? No, and Harry Kane missed the penalty. If he didn't miss the penalty, I would have had even more.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pull a Spurs and say that the league only starts now and it only covers a certain period of time.
Well, you have to buy Spurs players if you want to get.
Well,
some
luckily though, the top of the league is really congested, and there's not many. Like even between Martin in first and me in 12th, there's only 20 points, so that can move quickly.
Oh, okay.
Because Martin was down like I think quite middle of the table last week, so it's still early days.
2 weeks ago, I was middle of the table. Last week, I was already.
All right, guys, I gotta go. Thank you so much.
I know.
See you guys.
All right,
bye.
See you on Thursday. Shout out some people. Like who's second? Shout out second and the person who's right in front of it.
So second is Rory Sibley with Sour Grapes FC. Then Danny Kunyaski is third with his team Deeks, and Lyle Gillen, who was the first 2 week sort of top of the table team with Darwin's best friend. He's now number 4. So that's the top 4.
Who's that again?
Lyle Gillen, Darwin's best friend.
Lyle, you're slipping, son.
Yeah.
You
But
started
Aaron
out the season
Aaron
strong.
Firkin, who was number 1, he's now down to 10th.
You're slipping, Aaron.
But like I say, it's all very congested. I fucked up. I could have had a better week, but I made Salah my captain. I had Haaland, I had Kane, all these guys that scored multiple goals, but I gave Salah the captaincy because I looked at it. I thought, Haaland against Palace. Palace will be a tough game. They'll be solid. Kane, I thought, Forest will give them a good game, but I thought Liverpool will steamroll Bournemouth, and I was right. But it was amazing for them to win 9-0, and he didn't have a single goal or assist in any of it. Was just madness for me, and he only got 6 points as captain, which is insane.
He's done. It's over.
No, I've kept him in. I'm giving him a little bit longer before I transfer out. But to be honest, Haaland is my captain this week. Man City play Nottingham Forest at home. Haaland's my captain.
Haaland's going to be everybody's captain for the rest of the season after what he did this week in the EPL. So Martin, go ahead.
Well, mine didn't captain him this week. He captained Kane. So
yeah.
But
and if he scored a
team,
penalty, I would have.
You're too loyal.
More points.
If he'd have scored a penalty.
Yeah. Martin's team was about as solid as you could get this week, though. He had Alisson in goal, clean sheet, Dyer at the back, clean sheet, Saliba at the back, clean sheet, Van Dijk at the back, clean sheet, and a goal.
Saliba didn't have a clear sheet, but he had an assist. He didn't have a clean sheet.
Oh, he got an assist. Oh, no, he didn't get a clean sheet. Yeah, it was 2-1 that game, sorry. But Kulusevski got an assist. Trossard got an assist. Odegaard in there as well. And then, Kane and Haaland. So, yeah, he had a nice week.
All right.
Yeah, I always try to my strategy. And actually, I historically did always well in the fantasy league because I always look who is someone who gets goals and assists. Like even from the defensive positions. Like the Van Dijk always scores goals. So I always have Van Dijk on my team every season because he always scores goals, and they get clean sheets quite a bit. It was pretty unusual that the first 3 games Van Dijk wasn't getting many points because usually he's like one of the highest. The guy with the highest amount of points at the end of the season. And Salah was always a little bit too expensive for me, so I would prefer to get like 2 very good strikers instead of him. But I might get Salah at some point because he will go on a run. I'm thinking about Diaz, but I look like who scores and who gets assists. Some players are just very good players, but their numbers are not that.
Yeah, they don't do anything. Yeah, you got to be effective.
Martin, will you talk about your real game instead of acting like you're Thomas Tuchel? So
the real game, we watched the game. We watched the game at your place, and I'm very happy with the game the way it went. I think we have a certain formula that kind of reminds me of the season Conte won the title with Chelsea, when it can be boring at times. It can be surprising that that he likes to play that counter-attacking football, but it's very, very effective. And I would say if Son was at his usual self, we would be winning the games even more convincingly. Although we are. Because with penalties 3-0, I like the buys because those substitutes we didn't have those substitutes last season. It would be like Winks coming on, or some other players that make no real difference. Now you have Richarlison, Bissouma, and a bunch of other players, and now they're trying to get Carrasco. It looks like they might be able to sign him. So
do you need Carrasco? What do you want Carrasco for?
I mean, for the depth, I guess.
What is Carrasco's position?
You can play either side on the wing, can't he? He play either side of the centre forward. He can play as a wing back as well, I think. He played there for Atletico sometimes.
Oh, okay.
So clearly
for Belgium.
Clearly he wants to win the title, and he believes that he can. And listen, we'll see. I'm taking step by step. I said that I need 30 wins this season. So far it's 3 out of 4. If we can get into 30 wins, we have 20. We need 27 more. It will be interesting. We'll be in the mix. If we
He's played it down in the media, though. He said he needs 2 more transfer windows to be title contenders.
And that's also his style. That's what he did with Inter. That's exactly the same thing. But I think he wants to go for it. I feel like he does. But he doesn't. He knows that we're still not technically the best team in the league. That the City are the best team in the league, and Liverpool are still better team than us technically. Although they lost a lot of points so far. So you see, it's never like nothing is guaranteed. So I mean, we're not the best team technically on paper, but with the right amount of results, with the way other teams will play and lose some points. Who knows? You know, like it's possible.
The reason I know Conte is happy because when he's not happy, he quits. When he is happy, he just downplays how happy or positive that he is. So that's how I know he's happy. That he's not like, I'm out. And the results are coming in. And Levy's giving him what he wants. And he's doing this really smart. And also kind of within Levy's budget too. You know? So I think they're like working with each other. Maybe the middleman, what's his name? The Italian guy? That's the director of football over
he's
there.
doing a very good job, this guy.
He's doing a good job of being a liaison between Levy and Conte, who could be pretty demanding.
Is it Pastraki or something?
Yeah, some TT, like, yeah. But I watched the game with Martin, and, Forest is going to be problems for people. But, just like, they spend a lot of money, and there's something that a question that I had that Lee answered accurately, like when we talked about in the beginning of the season, I was like, Forest had bought, now they have 18 new players, but before that, they probably had like 11. And I was like, how are you going to enter a guy who's never coached in the Premier League, going to integrate all these players to play in a style, like, especially at the beginning of the season. But even though Forest lost the game, you could see their style, you could see their identity. I've seen like 2 or 3 games with them, and I know exactly what they're going to do. They're going to press, and they're going to create pressure, and they're going to try to turn the ball over, and they're going to play on the front foot, which is always bold for like a newly promoted team. And I think they played better, but they didn't get the goals. And I also got to give Spurs the credit for having 7 shots on goal as opposed to Forest's 1 shot on goal, even though Forest had 17 shots. So just better quality up front. And you guys didn't want to absorb all the pressure, Martin, that you did in the beginning, because I saw an interview with Harry Kane and saying it just happened that way. That's not how they were coached to do. It just took them the second half. In the second half, they got it going. And they wanted to play in the first half how the second half went, but Forest wouldn't allow them. So too bad, Forest, man. I really wanted you to take some points from Spurs, from Martin as he sat in the living room. I was definitely rooting for Forest, but
I'll be
Martin,
rooting for Forest next
points.
game. I'll be rooting for Forest with all my heart in the next game against City. I'm gonna root for them big time, yeah.
That's not all your heart. All your heart is with Spurs. I don't think you know what all your heart means.
Yeah, but I really want Forest to get some points from City, and I don't think they will, but who knows?
You want Forest to do your dirty work for you. I'm sorry, Lee, go ahead.
I'm not sure if it's a good or a bad thing how Spurs are getting these results right now, because I've not been convinced by them really in these games. I thought the Wolves game, I thought they were poor. I thought against Forest they were wobbly. I think if Forest were better in the final third, they would have got something from that game. Spurs are being clinical, which is a good thing, and they're getting results without really playing that well, which is a good thing as well.
And with Son playing the worst football he played for Spurs in like 5 years.
Yeah, because he was a fantasy football must-have last season, but this season he's not delivering. He hasn't scored a single goal, has he, so far?
You sold him, right? You had him, but you sold him.
No, I didn't have him. I went for Kane instead. I didn't want to overload on Spurs players because I don't trust them. But no, he's like I haven't really been convinced by you in your game so far. The only one where you looked really good was against us, and that wasn't even for that much of the game because we went 1-0 up. So there was still a wobble there. But it's if you can keep that form up when you win games without really playing that well, that's a good sign. But if it means that if all teams do is figure you out a bit more and then become more clinical, then it could be a problem, especially when the Champions League games start coming and you have to try and rotate a bit more, that teams might start taking points off you.
I actually think we'll play better. I think there's still a little bit heavy legs after working extremely hard during the preseason camp. And you can tell, with the fast players that they miss an extra step in terms of their pace. But I think they think this is a very good sign that we're going through that first month not losing points. And the game against West Ham will be an important one because it's a traditionally very tough opponent for us. But then after that, we have a run that we can win 3 games in a row easily, you know. So yeah. So I hope we're gonna win. We're gonna get a scrappy win at West Ham, like 1-0 or something, with Kane scoring a winner probably. I wouldn't be surprised if Richarlison starts that game instead of Son. It kind of deserved to do that.
For a derby game. He's the sort of player you want as well, because he'll wind up the opposition and he'll do things. I was really impressed with Perisic for you guys against Forest though as well.
Yeah.
I think his deliveries into the box. I think Kane must be loving that, because
absolutely
the balls he puts in are world class. He's like, the whip he puts on those crosses is insane.
Yeah, he is world class. He finished second in the last World Cup. I mean, this guy has incredible resume.
Yeah, he got blown out in the last World Cup. But all right. What game did you guys see that wasn't your team that you really liked this week or enjoyed?
I mean, you got to talk about the City Palace game, because that was just incredible, wasn't it? For Palace to go 2-0 up was, I mean, I thought they were going to do it again. You know, they've already caused problems for Liverpool this season, and you know, I thought their game plan was quite good. They were soaking up a lot of pressure, which is always dangerous against City. But then they took their chances at the other end, which was crazy. Obviously, set piece on one of them, and and they could have had a third. Obviously, the referee ruled it out correctly when Ederson was rolling that ball out, and they pinched it off him, which would have been 3-0.
You think that was correct?
Yeah, it's part of the written rules. You can't interfere with a goalkeeper when they're releasing the ball.
Okay.
Because if that was a kick from his hands and they did it, it would be.
But they're saying it was released.
A free kick. It was barely released. Like it's still technically as the ball's being released, because it's still in their motion. It's just come out of his hand. I think it was correct, just about. But I'm a former goalkeeper, so I would
that's
say
what that sounds like.
But 3-0 would have made it really interesting. But with City, you can never count them out, especially with the firepower they've got. And then, you know, Haaland, his goals weren't really. I mean, 2 of them weren't really amazing, but they're the sort of goals that they've signed him to score, because he'll be in those positions at the right time to finish the ball. And then the one where he's burst between the 2 defenders and finished, that was just a pure display of what he's good at in terms of just being powerful and clinical. But the other 2 goals were just him. You know, he's there to finish off the good service from the rest of the team, which is, you know, that's what he's paid for.
I like the second goal a lot, because it was such a team goal. Like they passed it around the goal, and then the ball came to him. Like that could have surprised so many players, and he reacted to it instantly. Boom, in the side of the net that he was on. And it's like, I didn't even expect the ball to go to him until it went to him. And I didn't know what you could do with a ball like that until he put it in the back of the net, or that he was open. So I do like the second goal a lot. The first goal was like, true poacher's goal. But I mean, he just showed you how versatile. Like, some forwards could only score one of those type of goals. That's their thing on a regular basis. He's like, oh, I could score them all over. Anyway, just go in the box. And then to be in that third goal, he was in a sandwich between 2 Crystal Palace defenders. He waited patiently for the ball to come to him, leaned on the defender behind him, caused confusion with the one that was in front of him. He didn't know whether to come harder or give him room or time and space, which was a mistake, and then turned comfortably in a sandwich and just placed it in the net. That's just pure class.
Yeah, I feel for Forest defenders tomorrow. You know, they've just signed Renan Lodi from Atletico Madrid. I'm pretty sure he'll be hoping his work permit doesn't come through in time. Like, give me a few more days.
Maybe he's tired, but I think the thing that scared me about Haaland the most was how much he wanted that ball on the third goal. Like, of his hat trick. Like he was screaming for it. Like Gundogan passed it to him on time and at the right pace, but he was screaming for that for like a minute. And it's like, you want that guy on your team that wants the ball, that's not hiding. And then when they get it, they have the composure and the skill to do what he did with it. So, man, it's he's going to be a problem for this league. Martin, did you get to see any game that wasn't your game?
Yeah. I got to see Liverpool game, City game, obviously United game, and Chelsea game, and like extended highlights. City, we know that this is the best team in the business, for sure. But I'm not sure that they're gonna beat Nottingham Forest. You know, I feel like
answer the question. Answer the question. Tell about a game that you saw. Just pick one of the games that you saw that wasn't your team's game, and just tell me your thoughts. Reflect on it.
I can go about United for sure. United game. I feel like
how about a game that I'm only because we spoke about United, so I'm just trying to like. All right, go ahead.
I know you're definitely guys playing better without Maguire for sure on the team. I feel like defensively, you were definitely on a higher level in the last two games. Although I'm still not 100% convinced that the team is ready to compete for top four. I think it could look that way after beating Liverpool for sure. But I mean, and that's the goal, I guess. There should be a goal for Man Utd to finish top four.
Unrealistic.
Really?
Yeah.
Why not?
And then remember, I tell you this so that later on in the season, you don't act like you're telling me this. Don't be like, you guys are not going to finish top four, blah, blah, blah. And it's like completely ignoring the fact that I said this at the beginning of the season. I'm saying it now, and I will say it till the end of the season.
Well, you keep buying people, though. That's changing things.
Yeah, we have to buy people. You expected us to keep that team that we had? You didn't. You bought people, and you finished. Listen, you finished top four, and you bought more people than us. But what do you expect us to do? We finished sixth.
Yeah, I still think, you probably need to let Cristiano Ronaldo go. I feel like it's time for a nice
telling
divorce.
Me something I mentioned. Yeah, he should be.
Well, I guess then we agree. Like it's time for a nice divorce with Cristiano Ronaldo, like a great, graceful divorce. I don't know what it's gonna be, but it seems like it has to happen, and it has to happen pretty soon. And I don't really know where Ronaldo can go. Like both him and Messi are fading away big time, big time. And it's sad in a way, because we remember him as.
Did you see Messi last week? He killed.
Yeah, but still, it's not the same Messi. It's not the same Messi that he used to be. It's kind of sad.
It was last year. He was brokenhearted. Like you could tell. Even when he scored, he wasn't happy. And it's like, what goal scorer is not happy when he scores or his teammates score? Like some aren't happy when their teammates score, but he was like, it was just like what Real Madrid, what Barcelona did to him, that would break God's heart,
Yeah, but it was time. It was kind of time. It's what United that is not doing right now with Ronaldo. It was kind of the time to do it. They actually got better with Lewandowski. Is a better player than Messi right now, so they have a better player in Lewandowski, who scored 4 goals in 2 games, and he's definitely, sometimes you have to transition even from your local hero. Messi is not the same player. I mean, they drew against Monaco having Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar. He's not the same player. He would have won that game by himself 4 or 5 years ago, easily. I mean, he would score 4 goals probably in the game, playing with players like Mbappe and Neymar.
But did you see the game the weekend before?
Yeah, but they didn't play a strong team. I mean, he's still.
They played Lille. They played Lille, the team that won the league the year before.
And sold like every major player pretty much since. Including the guy Chouameni, who went to Real Madrid for 100 million. I mean, he's still good. He's still top 50.
Chouameni was from Monaco, I think.
From Monaco.
Oh no, he's from Monaco. You're right. Who did they sell? Lille.
They sold Sanchez to PSG.
Sanchez to PSG, exactly.
Cheap too, 20-something. Unbelievable.
Yeah, but Messi's still top 50 player in the world, but he's not the best player in the world anymore. And same with Ronaldo.
I think with Messi, he can still do what he does because pace and physicality was never like the biggest part of what he did. He can still find a pass. He can still technically dribble past people because he can drop a shoulder and his touch is still immaculate. Whereas a lot of what Ronaldo did was, he was still technically a very good player, but a lot of what he did was so explosive. The way he would go past people, the way he would run onto balls, the way he would challenge in the air. And I think Messi, like the games I've watched this season of PSG, he can still find those little bits of space and those little one-touch flicks or the little passes he can find to like play in Neymar and Mbappe. He can still do that. Whereas Ronaldo, I think his game is more affected by the passing of time than Messi's is.
Yeah.
I love Ronaldo, but he got to go. That's all I got to say.
There was rumors that you might go for use him as part of a deal for Omishen from Napoli.
That's what Napoli wanted, and Napoli wanted us to pay for their player and our player, and then just get Ronaldo.
85% of Ronaldo's wages they wanted you to pay.
Yeah, they just wanted where we'll take him, and you take our guy, you pay for our guy, then you pay for your guy. And how's that sound? What the hell are you talking about, Napoli?
Depends how desperate you guys get. Everyone sees you guys as a cash cow right now.
Very true, very, very true. But it's kind of telling. It's kind of telling that Juventus, was looking for a striker and they didn't want Ronaldo back. They went from Arkadiusz Milik, injury-prone Polish player, not even the best Polish striker, instead of Ronaldo. Well, so that tells you a lot.
Well, Juventus was trying to get somebody. They were trying to get Depay, right? Mm-hmm. And then something happened that to cause the Depay deal to collapse. What was it? It had nothing to do. So then they had to go to a cheaper plan because they still don't have a lot of money. So that's why I guess they got your guy. He's Polish, right? That's the Polish guy. Yeah,
injury prone, but if he plays, he scores goals for sure.
Yeah.
Whoever it is just to be a backup for Vlahovic anyway. He scored a great free kick this weekend.
Yeah, I got to see all the highlights from those games. I saw them all last weekend, but I didn't get to see them this week.
Yeah, there were some good games in Europe. The Inter Lazio game was really good as well. 3-1 win for Lazio.
Roma, Tammy Abraham.
Yeah, Roma. Obviously, yeah, Abraham scored the equalizer against Juve.
Oh yeah, you sent me that interview of him being interviewed after.
Yeah, half Italian, half
English. One thing I wanted to talk. One thing I wanted to tell. Now I remember about Maguire. It might seem controversial for you guys, might not. I feel if Maguire doesn't play for United and if Eric Dyer continues to play like he plays so far this season, I don't see how could Southgate play Maguire instead of Eric Dyer as a center back in the World Cup. I don't see how he plays Maguire in front of Eric Dyer. If he
Southgate picks a lot on England form rather than club form, though, which is why Pickford stays number one, because Pickford doesn't ever really do anything wrong for England, even though he does for Everton. Because I think on form, Ramsdale is probably the better keeper right now, even Pope, maybe even Henderson.
Henderson for sure.
Southgate likes his continuity and he likes players that have performed well for him for England. I don't know if that's necessarily the best way to do it, but it's the way he does it. And he'll live or die by those decisions at this World Cup, because I think if we underperform, it will be his last tournament as manager. But yeah, I mean, on form, Dyer's well ahead of Maguire, but Southgate does what he does.
Yeah, and I was telling Martin that too, that there's international teams, once they have like a main player, it doesn't matter if that main player, for some reason that year, doesn't start or play for their club team. That main player is a main player internationally. There's been goal scorers that were on the bench for their club team and then come to their national team and get goals. I can't remember some of the names of the multiple players that have done that, and their coach plays them internationally and they win and they'll score goals. So I wouldn't be surprised if Maguire goes straight back into it's going to be tough for him to go straight back because he doesn't have game fitness. So that'll probably be the thing that'll hold him back.
One of them was
game
like
fitness.
Giroud for France. He was never starting at like Chelsea regularly, but for France, he was always the starter because he did a job for them as the 9 and brought in the more creative players around him to work off of him. So that's one example maybe. Even Pogba for France, when he was like in and out of the United team, he would always turn up for France. And look a different player.
There's a history of players that didn't, like, once they got established and then they had some issues and then played for their club.
Yeah, but it's different. It's different with defenders, though. With defenders, you need to play. If you're a defender, you don't play. That affects your form. Tremendously.
Martin, I'd say that about any international position, but
I mean, if you're a striker and you're a bench player on your team and you come on and score some goals, I mean, it's different. And then because that's what Giroud did. He still scored goals. But if you're a center back, you depend on the continuity of playing every week. I mean, you do, because those are certain mechanics that you cannot replace with your experience. If Maguire doesn't play for 3 months at all.
But you know why it doesn't matter? The same reason why you say it matters, I say it doesn't matter because, like, listen, Harry Maguire right now, he's not like, so when they go to training camp, you get to you get to partner with someone in training camp.
But that's not the same.
And get used to each other. But playing for your club is not the same as playing for England. So it's like, what if he goes to training camp and gets a good partnership going in training camp with someone, because he's started for England before and we went to a final and a semi-final, I just wouldn't be surprised if Southgate started him again,
Plus, he's a left-footed centre-back, which Dyer isn't. And sometimes if he plays the back 3 especially, he wants a left-footed centre-back in that back 3. But I could see him playing both of them, especially if he plays a back 3.
Right. Because Stones doesn't always start for City either. So
you have Tomori.
And Ben White has been playing. Let me see. Sometimes he plays right back for Arsenal. Let me see where he played.
Whatever happens, I would still play Dyer or Maguire over Mings. So
yeah, for sure. No, I mean, I would play Dyer.
I don't know how he gets any England caps. I don't rate Mings at all.
It's like, it's interesting when you look at the teams that were coached by Conte. A lot of those teams have their defensive players improving a lot individually under Conte. Like, Conte brings the whole staff with him, and there are some people that he works with who are really improving players individually a lot. And
if you're gonna get coached defending by anyone, it's probably best to get coached defending by Italians.
Eric Dyer's definitely gotten better under Conte, 100%. Ben White, right back for Arsenal last few weeks, which is surprising for like such a lanky, tall guy who looks like a center half, like coming up the wing. But so the big games? Let's just look at some of the games coming up Tuesday.
We've got to talk about Bournemouth, Liverpool, haven't we? At least briefly.
Oh yeah. My bad.
Record score.
I mean, Martin said it, and I was thinking it. I was hoping, like, when you're watching a game, because I wasn't watching that game, but you could see the ticker that tells you the score of the other games in the right-hand corner, and you're just like, okay, it's 1-0. That was pretty fast. 2-0. All right. 3-0. You're trying to watch your game, but there's this counter, like the national deficit, like going up on the right top side of your screen. And 4-0. And your game is still in the first half, and you realize that game is still in the first half. And then it just keeps going up. You start rooting for it to go to 10, to go to double figures. But yeah, man, like, if you were Liverpool and they sent you a Premier League menu, and the results you have were 2 ties and a loss to United, and they sent you a Premier League menu and said, pick the team you want to play next, they would have looked at the menu and picked Bournemouth. So it just so happened that Bournemouth was the team that they played next. And man, that, like, you could tell by the hug Klopp gave Scott Park at the end of the game. It's just like, hey man, this wasn't personal. We just needed to get out some shit. Sorry.
Yeah, and I think if you looked at the way, because Bournemouth, when they played Arsenal and City in their last two games, I mean, it's a horrible run of games for Bournemouth, by the way. But when they played Arsenal and when they played City, they rolled over for both of them. They didn't even put up a fight. And then to face a Liverpool team at Anfield who are just coming off the back of a derby loss, that's not good. And yeah, their confidence could be blown now. I said before the first game of the season that I thought Bournemouth were the weakest team out of all the promoted teams. Even though Forest were signing a bunch of new players, I was like, Bournemouth are just coming up and carrying on with the same team, not really making any additions, and I don't think their team's good enough to stay up. And they're proving me right so far, because yeah, they haven't shown up in those games. I know they've had some hard teams, and they did beat Villa on the opening day, but as we're seeing at the moment, Villa look like they're giving a lot of people points.
Yeah, that's the game that I was going to bring up that I did watch, like Villa versus West Ham. And there was a very telling moment in the Villa versus West Ham. And my homeboy Lloyd was at the game. He's a Villa fan. And I was talking to him before the game. And he kind of wants Gerrard out. And a lot of Villa fans do. Because if I think in the last how many games? Say, what is the record of Villa from last season coming into this season? He's only won 3 out of the last 15 or 19 or something like that. So, and the rest, most of them were losses. So it hasn't been great. They got this, but it feels like Villa spent a lot of money on behalf of Steven Gerrard, but most of that money, it was not on behalf of Steven Gerrard. Like, Coutinho only cost 20 mil, and some of that money was spent in the last part of Dean Smith's reign, and then some money was spent towards the end of last season in the transfer window, and then this. So it's really not that much, but it's just this feeling that all this money was spent on Steven Gerrard's behalf. So people expect better results. Villa was not clinical. They dominated the first half. They dominated West Ham. They kept them in the half. It was like, oh, this is a very strong performance. But they were trash in the final third. They could not put the ball away. And then in the second half, the roles got reversed. West Ham changed their formation, and they just pressed, and they kept Villa in their own half, in their own stadium. They took over the claret and blueness of that Villa stadium and owned it. I thought they'd switch locations to London in the second half, the way West Ham played, and they got the goal from it. And Gerrard's substitutions couldn't do anything to help them get a point. But one of the most telling things about the spirit, or the lack of spirit, with Aston Villa right now is early in the game, Villa scored a goal. And then it was off a corner, and they reviewed it, and the ball had gone out. So they took away the goal.
Oh, yeah, when it swung out of the...
Yeah, when it swung out. But the air that left that stadium, it made it feel like Villa had just gone down a goal, as opposed to gone up a goal and had a goal taken away, and the score was even. And that's where their spirit is at. Like, they don't believe in themselves. And that, having a goal taken away shouldn't have that effect on you when the score is 0-0 and you still have the chance to win. So that's that bless you. That was very telling, that moment. And I'm just gonna, before we talk about the games that's coming up, just because I almost missed the Bournemouth Liverpool game, which was 9-0, just say Brighton Leeds, America's team. Leeds got pressured the entire game. Brighton was all over them. Because this podcast is based in the United States, and most United States fans are naturally gonna want Leeds to do good because they have an American coach and 2 American players. But the intensity was not
Major
there.
League Soccer.
Yeah, that's what they call it. Explain that.
Major League Soccer, MLS. but with Leeds
MLS.
instead of league.
Yeah, Major League Soccer. Yeah, that's what they call Leeds in England. But yeah, the intensity wasn't there. The intensity that they had for Chelsea last weekend wasn't there. And Brighton does what Brighton does. They created multiple chances, but only got one in the net, and that's all that need. And you don't see none of those guys like anymore for Brighton Hove. Like last year, they would mix it up. You would see Conley, or you would see Mopai. I can't pronounce Mopai.
Mopai, yeah.
Or Mope.
Yeah.
I don't even know if but they're not even putting those guys in. The lead in the line is Welbeck, and he might not score, but he's very effective in helping like people like Gross or Trossard score and holding up the ball.
Trossard is a very good player. I said it on the podcast before the season. He's a very, very good player, very underrated player. And I think Brighton, they lost technically their 2 out of 3 best players this summer, and they continue to get points. I mean, it's a really well drilled team. It really is.
Yeah, good coach. He's got a bright future.
They lost Bissouma, they lost Cucurella, and they didn't lose a step.
So far, hopefully that stuff will catch up to them. It's got a whole season ahead of you, but we'll see. You know, I don't like Brighton right now, so I hope that shit they pay for the money that they made.
I don't think they're gonna go down. I think that they will definitely.
No. They're in no danger of that. They're in the top 10. You know, Brentford versus Everton. Hey man, Gordon got the first goal. That's good for Everton to score a lead goal on the road at Brentford. That's a cauldron of a stadium to perform in. Those fans be at it. They're you know, the energy of the crowd is like when they got into the league last year. It's just the enthusiasm, and it's a tough place to play. And ask Manchester United, but Brentford played better and created more chances and came back at the end. So they ended 1-1. That's good.
Yeah, they hit the woodwork a couple of times. Brentford. Yeah, man. They came close.
Let me ask you a question. Does the woodwork count as shots on target?
No.
Because it says here Brentford had 5 shots on target, but those posts were more on target than some of the shots that they count as on target. Yeah,
woodwork doesn't count as on target. They only count either goals or stuff that the keeper saved that was inside the frame.
I think they should change that. Am I the only one
I think they should,
way?
but
because
it's harsh.
Yeah, like I remember back in the day, it was like an unspoken universal thing that even if your team lost or tied, especially if they tied, but your team hit the other team's goalpost once or twice, you know deep down you won that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think the other team knew that too.
I think a shot that hits, say if someone shoots and it hits the inside of the post, that is a better shot than if you just hit it straight at the keeper.
Yeah.
But straight at the keeper counts as on target and inside of the post doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. Like you beat the keeper, but you hit the post and the ball luckily bounced out of the way of danger. Yeah, that's a shot on goal for me. So hopefully, I don't know if it doesn't matter if they change it or not. And let me see, Wolves versus Newcastle, 1-1. You know, Eddie Howe getting a point last minute, St. Maxima. The Wolves defender who was clearing the ball from across the middle of your field. Don't do that. I'm sure you know not to do that now, because there are guys like St. Maxima who just need one volley, one chance, one shot to put the ball in the back of the net and get some points. But
that was probably the best game this week in terms of goal quality. Those 2 goals in that game.
Oh yeah, because Neves was pretty delicious too, right?
Mm.
Yeah, that long shot from Neves.
Yeah, Neves, and then the St. Maximum goal was incredible technique as well to put it in from there like that.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing. Yeah, he's pretty amazing. And I think that's it. So just to run through tomorrow, Chelsea, Southampton. Who you got, Martin?
Draw. It's a draw.
Is that what you want? or that's how you
Yes.
really feel? Yeah, that's what I thought.
No, but I
That's what
think
I thought.
Southampton can actually win the game. I feel like there's it's a very unpredictable team that plays football that Chelsea hates, and I think Hasenhüttl understands Tuchel. So I think Southampton can win the game, but I think it will end like a high-scoring draw, 2-2 maybe, 2-2.
Oh yeah, what you think, Lee?
I think it's going to be similar to Saturday when we played you guys. I think we'll give them a good game, but I think ultimately the fact that they've got higher quality players will mean that they'll be clinical. I don't think we are at the moment. So I think against them,
You got Shea Adams though.
Yeah, he's clinical against bad teams like Leicester though. But no, I think we'll make them earn it. I think it'll be a close game, but I think they'll win because they've got match winners like Sterling, who we don't have in our team.
All right.
No, let me ask you something. Let me ask you something, Lee, because I forgot to ask you last time. Because Ian thinks that Gareth Bale will probably end his career after the World Cup, but I'm thinking, what if he goes for his final season back to Southampton where he started? Would you take him back, Southampton?
If he's still physically capable, I would. But that's the big if.
I don't know if I said he would end his career. I think he'll quit. I think he's done with England. I don't know. If he wins the World Cup, he'd stick around for the Euros. He got nothing to lose.
Who, Gareth Bale?
Oh, you're talking about Gareth Bale.
No, Gareth Bale.
I think he's probably. I think he would rather carry on living in Beverly Hills or wherever the fuck he's living than in Southampton again. To be honest, it's a bit of a lifestyle move, which I think he would want to carry on if he could. And also, we've shown with Theo Walcott that those exciting kids that we once had and then sold coming back isn't always the best idea. So who knows? Maybe we'll get Bale and Oxlade-Chamberlain, but I don't think I would really welcome either of them back right now because Bale, I don't know if he can still do it at the Premier League level every week in a team like us where you need that bit more. I think he could probably still do it at a top team because he could have the players around him doing some of the work. Whereas with us, I don't think I don't think he could carry us.
Right. Martin, you're right. I did say that. I think he is going to quit after the World Cup. And that's the only reason why he's still playing football. Yeah. Tottenham versus West Ham on Wednesday, Martin. I mean, Lee, what do you think of Martin's chances, Tottenham beating West Ham on Wednesday?
I think Tottenham will win it by 1 goal.
Yeah, all right.
Whether it's a 1-0 or a 2-1. I think West Ham will make them work for it, but I think Spurs have got more clinical players in their team than West Ham, so I think they'll just about win that one out.
Martin, what you think?
I agree. 1-0 probably. Yeah, it's a tough team for us to play. We always play them tough. They always play us tough. It's a tough team for us.
Why is that?
I don't know. West Ham and Chelsea are always tough games for us. I don't know why.
You know why it's tough? Because you guys are countering right now, and they don't mind playing mid block or half block. They're not going to attack you and give you what you want to counter on them. So I could see that.
Yeah, but we still have guys who can cross the ball like Perisic, and we need one cross and one Kane's header to win the game, and I think that's the most likely scenario.
I'm rooting for West Ham, 100%.
Yeah, let's hope Schumacher gets his first Premier League goal.
Right, he scored midweek in the Conference League,
Europa qualifiers, whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, whatever that was. Yeah, Liverpool's next game is Newcastle. That's not going to be easy for Liverpool.
No, it should be a fun one to watch. I think that'll be quite an open game, that one.
Yeah. So that could cause Liverpool some issues, but they should. I mean, if they're going to challenge for the title this season, they have to beat Newcastle. So they got to do that. There's nowhere.
Might be Isak's debut. He couldn't play against Wolves because of the paperwork.
All right.
Yeah, because I think he's obviously, for me, he's a big upgrade on Chris Wood.
Yeah, because Callum Wilson is out again, and then Chris Wood had to start this weekend, and Wolves probably would have got no points if Callum Wilson had played. But so let's see if Isak. Did you find out like Isak's stats last season?
Yeah, well, it was 6 last season, which I was surprised by. 6 in 32.
I was surprised too.
17 the season before, 9 the season before that.
So maybe he was. I don't know what happened to him last season. how do you go score 17 the season before and then score 6? You know, and I in the Euros, I was like,
The season
this
before,
guy
I
is
think
next.
the season before, I think he had Odegaard playing with him at Sociedad.
Mm.
And
Oh,
obviously he went to Arsenal. So having someone like Odegaard in the team who creates a lot of chances.
He got Silva though, who also creates chances.
Yeah, of an aging David Silva.
yeah.
Let me see where. Let me just see where Sociedad finished that season though, because it might be that they weren't, overall a great team last season.
I think they're actually pretty solid last
I
season.
think they finished in the top 10.
They finished 6th.
Yeah, they finished up decent, but there was a lot of points in between them and you know what I mean? Like a lot of like the teams from 6th to last, like a few points difference, and anybody could have been relegated in the La Liga. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing with Sociedad is the team below them was Villarreal, who finished with the goal difference of plus 26. The team above them was Betis, who finished with plus 22. Sociedad only had plus 3, so they weren't a high-scoring team last season.
Yeah, they were good defensively last season.
Yeah, so it might have been that they were playing a different style, but I rate Isak though. I like him. I've liked what I've seen of him for Sweden as well. I think he's a good player. I think he's capable of scoring goals. It just depends how Newcastle's set up and whether it's set up to get the best out of him. Maybe with people like Sir Maximum supplying him, he might be prolific. And he's only, like I say, he's 22 still. He's got an incredible amount of experience for a 22-year-old, because obviously he went to Dortmund for a couple of seasons and didn't play all the time there. But yeah, he's had a couple of international tournaments for Sweden already, a couple of La Liga seasons under it, or 3 La Liga seasons under his belt as well. So he's coming in with a lot of experience for a 22-year-old.
Yeah, he should be all right. He's definitely better than Chris Wood.
Yeah, massive upgrade.
Yeah. So like before, if Callum Wilson was out, they didn't even have Chris Wood. Now they have Chris Wood. Now they'll have Isak. So yeah. Trying to see Manchester United versus Leicester. What do you think, Martin?
I think it will be a draw.
Thursday.
I think it's going to be 1-1.
All right, bro.
Well, here's the thing, like why I think United could possibly win it, because I see this team, Leicester team, being very disengaged, and I don't see any character on the team. It looks like something is not working out between the players and the manager. It looks like he might be the first one to lose his job. Actually, Brendan Rodgers. He seems disinterested with his job. He thinks he should be on a better team as a manager.
He should be.
I don't know if he gets fired.
He should be. Like, you're on he's a captain of the Titanic right now. They didn't buy any players. They're losing pieces of the ship, and he's just standing on deck watching, the ship that he sold. He rode into the ocean, like, disintegrate around him. And they might lose Tillemans by Thursday. They've already lost Faufana, and Vardy's getting older. He ain't getting younger. And like, even if they hang on to
Schmeichel, they lost Schmeichel
to Barnes, and who's the other dude? Madison. This transfer window, somebody might come for them next transfer window. It's like
they could go down potentially. They could.
The thing is,
go ahead.
So I was going to say, I don't see which big job Brendan Rodgers gets if he leaves, though, because I don't think any of the top 4.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a sideways move from Leicester, really. I mean, they might spend a bit more money than Leicester.
Everton.
But yeah, I don't think any of those are a real good move for him.
It's a sideways move, but he won a FA Cup with at least Aston Villa team is not disintegrating like as under his feet. They're willing to spend. Leicester's willing to sell. So it's kind of going in the opposite direction after the owner died. Even though they did win a cup recently, they're selling too much.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how much of that money he gets to reinvest. And the problem is they've left it so late, though. Like, it's hard to go shopping with that money in the last 48 hours of the window, because teams know you've got that money and they know you're desperate, so you're going to pay over the odds.
Yeah, exactly. So they're screwed. Do we need to cover anything else?
That's pretty much it for the games that are coming up. I think Palace Brentford would be quite a good game. There's a lot of good games this midweek.
Who Brentford?
Palace Brentford.
Yeah.
At Palace, it's a London derby, one of the lesser London derbies, but it'll still be a fun one.
Yeah. Brighton Fulham, who, you know, have that same style as Brighton. You know, this the first game was this weekend where Fulham didn't get any points. They were supposed to be like automatic relegation, but they came out taking points from Liverpool. And who did they lose to this weekend? Who was that? I forgot. They got their first. Arsenal, which they took the lead in that game.
Yeah.
Mitrovic is, you know, so we'll see. It's Mitrovic versus what's his name from Brentford, the tall guy, Ivan Toney.
Oh no, it's Brighton. They're playing Fulham. They played Brentford the other week.
Oh, my bad. They're playing Brighton. Yeah.
Yeah. Palace playing Brentford.
I feel like Fulham has more scoring power than Brighton. Sorry, I mixed that up. But yeah, I feel like Fulham has more scoring potential than Brighton. Yeah.
Yeah, Brighton could do with a Mitrovic.
Yeah, they could. So we'll see how that goes. And it's being played at Fulham, so it's not like, yeah. So that should be a good game. Well, all right, guys. Martin, you got any last words?
No, not really, except of the fact that I enjoyed my Saturday with you when we went to see the Def Leppard and Poison. By the way, Motley Crue got very heavily criticized after that concert. By the media. They killed them. What
did they say?
Well, that the singer cannot sing anymore, that they were, not sounding right, which I kind of disagree, because I think they still put up a good show. But yeah, the singer had his problems for sure, but I still felt like it was a very good show, and overall it was a great show. The Flapper were fantastic. So I had a good Saturday and I had a good Sunday with Tottenham. So good weekend for sure.
Yeah, I like the Saturday part, but I hate the Sunday part. Yeah. So yeah, me and Martin went to see Dean Del Rey. Couldn't make it. He was on tour with Bill Burr, so he had these tickets for Joan Jett and Poison, Motley Crue, and Def Leppard at SoFi Stadium. I've never been to SoFi Stadium. First, when Dean told me, I was like, man, I like to experience shit that I never experienced before. So I was open to go for that, but it didn't sink in that it was SoFi, because I've been to the Forum recently. So I was like, and they're all next to each other. So it's like this whole complex area of like all these event spaces. So when he first told me, I was like, I've been there already. But I was like, no, this is SoFi, the brand new football stadium. So I was like, all right, that got me more excited than
That's where the Super Bowl was, right?
It's where the Super Bowl was. It's where the Rams just won the Super Bowl. And that stadium, been to a lot of, like, not a lot, but went to the Raiders stadium. And I've been to all these football stadiums not to see American football. I feel like went to Raiders stadium to see English football, or European football, Real Madrid versus Barcelona, El Clasico. Now we'll go to SoFi, not to see American football, but to see a rock concert. And yeah, man, let Def Leppard 100% fuck with them. But even if the critics say that Motley Crue was bad, they were still good at not being at their best. Like, Tommy Lee is a star. Yep. Like, the way this guy drums makes up for anything that the other group members might lack, because like that guy still had a good voice, but he just athletically didn't eat up the stage. He didn't have the energy to do it. So I still think he sounded good, but every time they cut to Tommy Lee on drums, the energy that it could have powered a country. It's just, I just never seen no shit like that before. And he's 59, and the energy, if he had this much energy at 59, how much energy did he have in his 20s? Like, I get why they made it now. There was no way they were not going to make it. And then the lead guitar guy, he has that health issue, but so he's not gonna, he's had that health issue, but he's still out there. And when you hear him play, you're like, oh, this motherfucker can play. So I say it was a good week. I was floored. I thought I was on drugs. That's how good it was. Like, I was like, damn. But great show. So that's my SoFi Motley Crue review. Critics. All right. Lee, I don't know if you can make it on Thursday. I don't even know what time. But I'll let you know. Probably same time. Martin, the same. We're gonna try and do like
I should be able to. I'm not doing anything else at 1 in the morning.
1 in the morning. Yeah, what you doing at 1 in the morning in England? Yeah. So we'll try to do that. We're gonna do a midweek podcast for anybody that's still listening to this episode this long.
Yeah, have a look at these midweek games.
Yeah, have a look at these midweek games and the transfer window closing. So, all right, everybody, have a good one. Love you. Thank you, Aaron Brungard, show's producer, All Things Comedy, and we out. One. I guess we'll just leave. I don't know if Aaron's still there. I wonder if we all right, get some sleep, fam.
I'm gonna head to bed.
All right.
All right.
I'll see you guys later.
Ciao.
One.
Cheers, guys.